All this week, we're having a good time talking about Chicago summer festivals. And you know what goes great with a hot day at a local festival? A great cold local beer. That's why I'm putting you on Revolution Brewing's new Cold Time Lager. Brewed low and slow with that Lake Michigan water, Cold Time is easy drinking. Perfect for festivals, block parties, and all things summertime shy. I usually got a couple tucked with me on the kayak. Find it and other Revolution Brewing beers at your favorite festival, neighborhood bar, or on shelves across the city. Check out the latest at revbrew.com. Today on CityCast Chicago. Thanks to the beer-loving folks over at Revolution Brewing, we have been talking about our favorite neighborhood summer festivals all week long. But remember, Chicago is also home to two of the biggest music festivals in the country. Yes, I'm talking about Pitchfork and, of course, Lollapalooza. With over 200 acts between the two festivals, we invited journalists and music festival enthusiast Katrina Pham to see who could put together the best one-day lineups for both. It's Thursday, June 13th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Are you competitive? Are you here to win? You here to kick my ass? How do you approach?
I'm definitely here to win. I think that I have some more Lolla experience than you, so hopefully my lineup there will be yours.
Katrina, welcome back to CityCast Chicago.
Hey, Jacoby, thanks for having me.
We thought it would be fun for you to come on. You and me, we both pick a day, one from Pitchfork and one day from Lolla, and we sort of put together our perfect music itinerary. Obviously, we'll also think about food and merch and vendors and the other things happening at the festival. But our focus is to design the best full day music lineup. And then we'll let CityCast Chicago listeners, Hey Chicago readers, and whoever else wants to chime in, pick between your day and my days. But before we jump into the list, Katrina, you were actually on the pod a few months back for our listeners who might remember. And you mentioned just how pumped you were for Lollapalooza. And this was even before they announced the headliners and the lineup. You actually said to me on mic,
this might be aiming too high, but low-key, I'm trying to see SZA. If she's at Lolla, like, I will go crazy.
And a couple days later, you got your wish.
I know.
How did you feel about that?
I can't believe that because I thought SZA was such a long shot. Because first of all, her concert tickets are hundreds of dollars. Like, I wanted to see her when she came to Chicago, and I was like, okay, well, I don't have the budget for SZA right now. And then she came for Lolla, and a Lolla day ticket is only like 100, not only 150, but comparatively to a SZA ticket, that's a lot better.
So let's get into it. We're going to start with Pitchfork because it's the smaller of the two. I think it usually has about 50,000 people there. And it's one that I went to last year. It's July 19th through the 21st in Union Park in the West Loop. Doors open Friday through Sunday at 12 p.m. And the last acts go on at about 8:30. So Katrina, what day in Pitchfork did you pick? And let's go through your lineup.
I'll give a shout out to Friday and Saturday for 100 Gex and Carly Rae Jepsen, but I had to pick Sunday, mainly because I'm really trying to see Grandmaster Flash in person. I feel that's
on my list, G. Yeah, we already starting off with some crossover.
Admittedly, I don't know a lot of people on the Pitchfork lineup, but when I heard Grandmaster Flash was going to be on there, like I was like, that's kind of history making. Like, I need to see him in person.
I mean, hip hop just celebrated 50 years sort of officially last year. And one of the people there at the beginning was Grandmaster Flash, a pioneer of the culture. I mean, he changed what was possible for DJs. He would always say he turned the turntable into an instrument, essentially. Things like scratching, sampling, looping.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
So much of this was either pioneered or was helped push forward by Grandmaster Flash. That's happening in Pitchfork Red Stage, 5:15 to 6:10. So that's one of the people on your list for sure. And that seems like that's what sort of really grabbed you about Friday. And for me, when I'm thinking about music festivals, I typically pick centered around the number one act I want to see. And I'll let the rest of the day sort of fill itself out. How do you approach that?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I feel like what I kind of think about when I'm like, okay, there's this one person I really want to see, Grandmaster Flash, or at Lolla, that's SZA. So I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, I need to stay around that stage because Lolla, for example, is huge. Like when I went in 2021 and saw Tyler, people camped out all day. Like they were there from the first set at the T-Mobile stage, like for the rest of the day, and people to get to the front. So if you want a good spot, you have to get there relatively early, maybe the set before or like a few sets before, or maybe even at the beginning of the day. So I'm trying to stay in the same area. And I'm also trying to think about who am I not going to be able to see again? Because for Lolla, for example, Zed is also playing at the same time as SZA, and I love Zed. Like Clarity Day One, like that's like a throwback blast from my past. But I feel like Zed, you can kind of see him whenever. Like he's kind of everywhere. Like you go to Vegas and he'll be there. SZA will not be in Vegas just doing a random concert. So.
So if you're thinking for this Pitchfork Sunday around Grandmaster Flash, do you have any acts you're seeing before that?
2 people I want to see in addition to Grandmaster Flash is Alanis Morissette and also Muna, because those are 2 people I feel like Muna, I just like their vibes. Like I feel like it's just vibey.
They were on my list too, G, and I really put like this is my opportunity to see an indie band I've only seen on Tiny Desk, like when I've gone through those long Tiny Desk marathons. And so I ended up watching a couple of their interviews, and they just seem funny as hell.
Okay. Here we go.
And I'm gonna play this well.
We're gonna do a good job on this one.
Don't worry.
In case you're wondering.
It's 3 women in the group, and they just seem like their music is a vibe, their working relationship is a vibe. And so that was another one on my list. Grandmaster Flash and Muna were definitely on my list, but Alanis Morissette was not. Alanis Morissette plays 8:30 to 9:45 on the green stage. So I see you. Grandmaster Flash is on the red stage from 5:15 to 6:10, but then you move over to the green stage for Muna and for Alanis Morissette. So are you seeing anything before Grandmaster Flash, or are you coming for that 3-act and keeping it tight?
Yeah, I think I'm keeping it tight because I feel like I'm also the kind of person who, if I don't really know them that well, I don't know if I'm trying to check them out and I want to like be able to just enjoy like my evening and not have to worry about like leaving and trying to get food in the middle of the day or going back and forth like from the venues. So I'm just trying to see the 3 of them.
All right. So you got Grandmaster Flash, you got Muna, you got Alanis Morissette, and 2 of those were on my list, Grandmaster Flash and Muna. But luckily, I had 3 others, so I'll give you those 3, and then I'll put it up against my 3. And so I'm getting there a little bit earlier. So I was planning around being there all day. Doors open at 12, and the first one is Kenya. It's on green stage from 1 to 1:40, and this is a Chicago native who has worked with other Chicagoans like Chance, No Name, Legend Mavis Staples, Jeff Tweedy. And Kenya is a vocalist, a pianist, a music director, been in the game well over a decade. And I first heard her on Chance's 2012 mixtape, 10 Day. And you know, all these years later, she has popped up on a few people's songs. She's had her own songs that were cold, like Decay, Misery. She has a new single called Hades Moon. This is one of those Chicago artists that you just really want to see blow up. Like she's opening up that Sunday at Pitchfork. So you got to be there early to see that one on the green stage. At that point, I might take a little bit of a food break. If people want to see some of the things that are at Pitchfork, our friends over at The Eater have put together a list of the Pitchfork food kitchen, things like Beat Kitchen, Connie's, of course, is everywhere, Soul Veg City, Public and Quality Meats. It's always a good time. Staying at the green stage, heading back, hopefully, into the photo pit. I would love to see Maxo from 2:30 to 3:15. And this was a California rapper who I wasn't that familiar with, but because I knew I wanted to see a Kenya and then be there later in the day, I was trying to find a person in the middle. And so I listened to a little bit of his albums, Debbie's Son, and Even God Has a Sense of Humor. And for me, I really appreciated how he used live instrumentation. His pacing kind of had sometimes a spoken word, sometimes a rap, sometimes a storytelling feel. And I just thought between the sounds he was creating and the way that he like used his voice, it would look good live in concert. At this point, Pitchfork also has the Chirp Record Fair, the Renegade Craft Fair, the Flat Stock Poster Fair, and I got to say it. They are also sponsored by our sponsor for this festival week, which is Revolution Brewing. And so I'm probably going to take some time to go get me a couple brewskis at that point. And for me, I know Grandmaster Flash was your person who you definitely had to see on this day. My person is on the red stage from 7:25 to 8:25, and that's Brittany Howard.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
This is who I came to see. I have absolutely loved listening to Brittany Howard since I first heard her as the front vocalist and guitar player for Alabama Shakes over 10 years ago. Her solo projects, Jamie and What Now, have enjoyed a good amount of replays on my phone. Songs like Prove It to You, Every Color in Blue, off of What Now. Like, it's one of those people, like you said, I don't know where I'm going to see her again. And get this opportunity. And so that's my lineup for Pitchfork between Akenya, Maxo, and ending the day out with Brittany Howard. I think we both got goers, G. I don't know. I really love yours. And so, I mean, you had some of mine on there. So it's the reason I like it.
But Brittany Howard, she's going to be great live. I feel like some artists, like when they perform live, you can tell that they're not meant for live singing, but Brittany Howard,
mic ain't on.
But Brittany Howard, her voice, I feel like it just has one of those voices that when you hear it in person, you hear it live, it's going to be 100 times better than when you hear it like over your headphones.
So again, please, y'all let us know at 773-780-0246. Leave us a text or voicemail. Go to the show notes and go to our form and pick who had the best Pitchfork day. I'm honestly say it's hard to go wrong here. We both agree Sunday is the killer day. And again, that's no offense to Friday, Saturday, and all the other great acts that are going to be on that day. This week of all things summer festivals is brought to you by Revolution Brewing. That's because the folks over at Revolution know that Chicago shows up and shows out for their city in the summer, so the beer should too. Revolution Brewing is Illinois' largest independent craft brewery, born right here in Chicago. From their Hero IPAs to their Freedom Sours to their Cold Time Lager, everything is brewed locally. So grabbing a Chicago beer or two, maybe even three at a Chicago Summer Festival, I think it just makes sense if you ask me. Catch Revolution Brewing at your favorite festival or beer store and learn more at revbrew.com. That's REVbrew.com. Katrina, let's move on to Lollapalooza. That's August 1st through the 4th at Grant Park. Now, this is Chicago's biggest music festival. Takes over Grant Park, over 400,000 people each year. According to C3, the promoters, it generated roughly $422 million for the local economy last year. There are 8 stages, more than 170 bands scheduled to play. Katrina, you mentioned your first one in 2021. What was that first experience like at Lolla?
It was definitely scary a little bit, just because Lolla is so many people. I've never seen that many people in one place. And on the low, it's a lot of teenagers from the suburbs like pulling up to Lolla. And sometimes they can be scary because they have a lot of energy and I can't always match that. And so that first year, I was trying to stay in the front. Like I camped out. I love Post Malone, so I camped out for him and tried to stay in the front. But I was crushed. Like everyone was trying to get to the front and I was there for the set beforehand and everyone just swarmed and pushed forward. And I'm never doing that again. Like, I can appreciate you from the back. Like, I will be, because the people who are dedicated, like, they will be, like, pushing and trying to get to the front. And I feel like the Lolla, like, vibe is, like, you're just trying to see who you want to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Like, I've gone to Summer Smash a bunch. I've gone to Pitchfork. I've been to Lolla once. And I'm a back person. I'm not trying to get to the front. I'm not trying to get into the middle. Lolla, even in the back, though, people were, like, throwing beer cans and like throwing stuff and people were throwing up and like, of course there is no excuse me, no pleases, no my bads, none of that. So you are like, the space at Lolla is so much like every music festival is going to have a mosh pit. It's going to have crowds where you are all up on each other. But Lolla, it feels like it's hard to escape the crowd. So now that you've gone a couple of times, what are like the biggest mistakes you've made and the tips you have for people?
Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes I made was telling myself I didn't need to bring any water or like water bottle or like anything to hold my water. Cause I was like, I'm not trying to carry anything. I have a cute little outfit on. Like, I don't want to hold anything. And I remember like last year, for example, when I went to see New Jeans, it was so hot. And the crowd, there were so many people around me. I'm not exaggerating when I was saying like I was starting to black out because I was like sweating, because you sweat more than you realize.
And there's no coverage in Grant Park. Sun is usually beaming that first weekend of August. Like you would think they got food, they got hydration stations, they got places, but gee, that shit is so far apart. No matter how close it is or how many, it's far apart.
And then when you wait in line to get the water, it just takes so long. So you don't want to wait. And if you try to buy, I feel like Lolla has those like quintessential water bottle like cups with the Lolla logos on it. And then, but it's so expensive. It's like $10 for one bottle of water.
So your first tip is carry your own damn water. Bring water, no matter how cute the fit is.
Yeah. Bring a hydration backpack, honestly. Like, because you can fill it up once. Like you get there whenever you get there, and then just fill it up and you're done.
You were the first person to come on here and tell people to get the pack. I feel like bros have broed up the backpack and made it look like a symbol of broness out there. So I'm glad you are trying to like make the backpack inclusive. It's for everybody, y'all.
It's cute. It's cute.
Oh. Right. You can make it work. You can accessorize it. You can make it fit in the fit. Like, what are some other mistakes that you've made that you've since rid yourself of? The last time you went, why was it a more enjoyable experience? What were some things you did differently?
Think about your transportation beforehand and think about trying to stay as close to Lolla as you can, because the CTA after the last set of the night is, I don't even have the words to describe how evil that place is. It's like there's so many people and you have to wait like hours to get a train because the train will come, the CTA will come and it's full, it's packed. So either you have to just walk down like to a later station to try to get on before the crowds are there, or you just have to pray.
No, that's a good tip. If you're going to take CTA, prepare to walk and maybe catch some of them earlier stations, make yourself closer to Roosevelt if you need to. But again, remember, other people know these tips. So be thinking about that ahead of time. Earlier this week, we talked about some of the things we bring in our backpack. Like I go to Summer Smash, I go to Ravinia, and I typically bring a backpack that might have like a first aid kit, that might have like some, maybe some antacid or something. I'm a little older than you, so I might eat something out there, mess me up for a little bit. Are you bringing any of those things with you besides water? Any, like, what's in your kit?
No, I'm definitely bringing Pepto-Bismol, like the little pills though, and any like kind of medicine like that you bring though, it has to be pre-packaged. Like you can't just have loose pills in your fanny pack or something like that, because they're gonna confiscate that. Like even if you say it's Advil, like it's gonna be gone. But yeah, because I'm a sufferer of hot girl IBS. Like last year I had a terrible stomach ache in the middle. I remember I was standing in the crowd, I was watching Nicki perform, and I started sweating, not because it was hot, but because when you have those kind of stomach aches where your body is just reacting. Luckily, Lolla has like a bodega in the middle of the entire like area where you can go and buy everything. Like they have Band-Aids, Pepto-Bismol, anything you could ask for, tampons, pads. I didn't bring any of that, so I went there and I bought it, and it was only like $5. But this year, I'm bringing it like on my own because
bringing your own pack.
I'm just prepared, yeah. And I don't know if this is too many tips, but the service is going to be really bad when you're there because everyone's trying to use their phones. So have some meetup locations with your friends, like know where you want to go and know where things are, because you probably won't be able to look it up on your phone.
So let's get into our Lolla lineups. Katrina, what day did you pick and who are you seeing?
Obviously, I picked Friday because of SZA, but I also think Friday has a really good just lineup in general. So I'm trying to get to Lolla around like 5 o'clock. I was really heartbroken choosing between Sexy Red and Victoria Monet because they are at the exact same time and at the opposite ends of Lolla, like of a Grant Park, which I think is evil because I don't know, like Sexy Red and Victoria Monet, like, you would think it's a similar audience, so why are you putting them so far apart? Like, you need to... But I had to settle on Victoria Monet.
Having a fantastic year.
She is just doing so much, and I just love all of her collabs, too. Like, I'm a big fan of Kehlani and Summer Walker, too, and I just think that not only are her songs on her own so good, but all of her songs with other artists are really good, too. And so I'm trying to see her right when I get there. But I'm getting there a little late. I'm not strong. Like, I'm not getting there at noon anymore. I'm getting there at 5 p.m. I'm eating before I'm going, like, because I don't want to spend money on the food there. Like, I'm just going to enjoy the artists.
I love that. I love that. I mean, people not familiar, Victoria Monet just won the Best New Artist at the Grammys. Her album is rising up the charts. G, who you going to next?
After Victoria Monet, I'm going to go see Loud Luxury for a little bit. Because the Perry stage, which is the EDM stage, is right next to T-Mobile stage. And it's literally just a 5-minute walk. Like, compared to the other stages, I think they're some of the closest stages to each other. So it's easy, so I can just bounce back to the T-Mobile stage for Renee Rapp.
I think I did. When I go through my list, I don't know if I paid as close attention to how close and far things were. So you might be beating me on this one. Because if I was there on Friday, I'd probably be running from... I don't know. Like, if I was at Loud Luxury, I'd be trying to get over to see Luffy with the Chicago Philharmonic at 6:45. And that's, it seems, if I believe in this to be correctly, because you said earlier, Bud Light and T-Mobile aren't that close, I'd be moving.
Yeah, because I think Bud Light is quite literally just on the opposite side of Grant Park. And you'd think it's easy to get there. But with how many people that are at Lolla, it's insanely hard to, like, make your way through the crowd. And you definitely can. Like, if you fight and make it through the crowd, like, you can do it. Like, you can make it, but it's going to be hard.
All right. So now you've hit 3 already. Victoria Monet, Loud Luxury, Renee Rapp. Who you seeing after that?
I think after Renee Rapp, I'm going to go back to Perry's and go see Galantis for a little bit. Because I just need somewhere, to stay before SZA and not too far. So I'm not too far in the back. But they're just fun. Like, it's just a vibe.
I love your plan so far. You have bounced between 2 stages. You haven't overworked yourself. You're not getting completely sort of drenched or exhausted moving all around the festival grounds. And I like how you also mentioned for a little bit, because you're thinking ahead, even though there's a gap of 8:15, the end of Galantis, to 8:45 SZA, you already mentioned you got to get to where you need to be. That stage is going to be rushed. People are going to be moving over there. And so you need the time to get situated.
Mm-hmm. And I've never tried this before, but this year I'm really trying to try it. The T-Mobile stage has a T-Mobile section, like, up on a hill, almost like a VIP section. But if you have T-Mobile, you can go to that area and see the stage. And I've been a Verizon customer for many years, but recently we switched to T-Mobile, and I'm trying to get into that area because I feel like it's elevated. So I'm basically like VIP, but I don't have to pay for VIP. And you get that nice view of the stage, and they have tables and chairs and everything. So hopefully it won't be too crazy to try to get in there, but that's where I'm trying to go so that I can post up for SZA.
How excited are you to finally see this show?
I'm so excited. Because I really wanted to see SZA in concert. She has such a beautiful voice, like, especially her live performance. Like, I think it's breathtaking. Like, her voice on her tracks, like, on Spotify, is so good. I have been listening to SZA since I was in high school, so a long time. Not as long as the OG fans, but, like, I got on SZA around Good Days and The Weeknd. Ever since then, I've just been a huge fan, and she's only made banger after banger since then.
Gee, I'm so glad we brought you back to do this. I remember when you told me that was your pick. I emailed you right after they announced it, and I was just like, we're going to bring you back to talk festivals. All right, so my lineup, I was torn between Thursday and Friday. Like, you ended up going with Friday, and I landed on Thursday. And again, my choice is typically based around the artist that I most want to see. And for me, that was Tyler, the Creator. I know he's been to Lolla before, and I've missed him. He's come to Chicago before. I've missed him. I've gotten to see a couple of his festival performances via, like, YouTube or online. but he is a performer, right? He is a conductor. Like his sets, the fashion choices he makes, the way he puts the set list together. Sometimes the features who join him at his festivals end up taking it to the next level. And so that's 9 p.m. T-Mobile stage Thursday. But I'm not just going to go at the end of the day if I'm thinking about my ideal day. And unlike you, and maybe I'm sort of thinking too big for this one, my Thursday, if I'm thinking Tyler, at the end of the day, it starts all the way back up at the top with Meta, who is on the T-Mobile stage from 1:15 to 2. People might remember her from the Pharrell and Rihanna Lemon video a bunch of years ago. But I've followed her career. She's got bops like Mama's Eyes, Van Gogh, and her energy seems like it would be perfect for a festival stage. Speaking of energy, I'm then going over to the IHG stage at 2 o'clock for Big X The Plug. My homie put me on Big X The Plug like a year and a half ago, and his songs like Texas, I know, they've regularly been in rotation in my playlist. But this is also an example of a person who, if I wasn't able to see them on Thursday, Lolla also has those after shows, and Big X The Plug is performing Wednesday, July 31st at Reggie's. The after shows there are so many different places: Empty Bottle, House of Blues, Reggie's, Shuba, Salt Shed, Talia Hall, which brings me to the next person who's on my list, who's performing at Talia Hall Wednesday, but on Thursday on the T-Mobile stage at 3, and that's Tyler.
Yeah.
Make me swing, make me lose my breath. Boom, boom. Tyler just seems like the performance would be extremely fun. She seems like her songs are very energetic. The dancing looks good. Like her career has been exploding. So to see her perform at Lolla, I think at her first Lollapalooza, I think would be cool. The only other group next to Tyler, the Creator, that I'd want to see on Thursday, they're performing on the Bud Light stage. So I do give myself a break here. This doesn't start till 4:45, and that's Jungle. I don't know if you heard it, but Volcano, the album and the accompanying short film, has been one of the best things I've seen on YouTube, probably ever. The choreography, the music, the chemistry between the performers. It's an absolute experience, and I imagine that the festival performance has to be much of that short film choreography brought to the stage. Maybe some people have seen the choreography from Will West on TikTok for the song Back on 74, but it's one of my favorite albums of the last year. And then that would lead me into Tyler, the Creator, on the T-Mobile stage at 9 o'clock. So that's my rundown of the list. You got Victoria Monet, Loud Luxury, Renee Rapp, Galantis, and SZA. And I got Meta, Big X The Plug, Tyler, Jungle, and Tyler, the Creator. I think I don't really think you can go wrong with either of those days, but we are going to ask people to pick their favorite Pitchfork day and their favorite Lolla day. Katrina, what you think about my lineup, G? What you think?
I think it's good, but I don't know. I'm trying to see Kesha. Like, because if you're going to be there on Thursday, like Kesha, she's an enigma. Like, when is she going to be out there again? Like, who knows?
And Kesha is performing at the same time as Jungle. I hear you on that. But have you seen the Volcano short film on YouTube?
No, I got to check it out.
Go watch it, G. I think they put together all of the videos in one. Let me know what you think on that one.
All right, I'll come back to you after I watch that video and see if it's as life-changing as you say it is.
You can vote now on which Pitchfork and Lolla days were your favorites by heading to our show notes. Please join me in giving another huge thank you to our guest today. Katrina, thank you for making time for CityCast Chicago, and good luck with your summer music festival season.
Thank you. You too.
Some good news. Unfortunately, India Ari is no longer performing in this Saturday's Juneteenth Village Fest in Douglas Park. However, Chicago's own Common has stepped in to headline the festival. Speaking of festival changes, Riot Fest is leaving Douglas Park and will now be at SeatGeek in suburban Bridgeview. This move comes after years of pushback from the community in North Lawndale. Riot Fest is scheduled September 20th through the 22nd. Now we just got to see where the Red Stars planning to play their home game, which was scheduled for September 21st. Stay tapped in and we'll let you know as soon as we do. We're going to be back bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace.